Chosen One, God said you are permitted to use this weapon tonight. In the shadowed valleys of Eldrathar, where the mountains drank starlight and the rivers whispered forgotten prophecies, there lived a young blacksmith named Kael. He was no warrior born of noble blood, no heir to ancient thrones. His hands were calloused from hammer and anvil, his days measured in sparks and sweat. The village of Thornvale knew him only as the quiet one who mended plows and shod horses, the orphan raised by an old seer who spoke too often of the coming night. Kael had never believed the old stories. The elders spoke of a weapon forged in the heart of the first flame, hidden by the gods themselves, a blade that could sever the threads of fate. They called it Aetherion, the edge of eternity. Only the Chosen One, marked by a scar shaped like a falling star, could wield it, and only when the heavens themselves granted permission. Kael bore such a scar on his left palm, a pale crescent he hid beneath leather wraps. He told no one. What use was a mark when the world demanded iron and coin? For 17 years the sky had been wrong. A creeping darkness called the Umbra Veil had swallowed the horizons. Crops withered under black frost. Children were born with eyes like oil slicks. Whispers said the veil was no natural storm. It was the breath of Maltheron, the Fallen Seraph, once a guardian of light who had torn free of divine chains and now hungered to unmake creation. Armies had marched against him. Kings had begged the gods for aid. All had failed. Maltheron's legions, shadow-wrought horrors with blades of midnight, grew stronger with every defeat. Tonight, the veil had descended fully on Thornvale. Kael stood on the hill overlooking the village as screams rose like smoke. Black wings blotted the moon, clawed shapes descended, tearing roofs apart, dragging souls into the dark. He clutched the hammer he had brought, not a weapon of war, but the only thing he owned heavier than his fear. Then the voice came. It was not thunder, it was not wind, it was the sound of light folding upon itself, ancient and immediate, speaking directly into the marrow of his bones. Kael of Thornvale, Chosen One, the hour has come. He dropped to his knees. The hammer fell from numb fingers. The voice continued, calm as a still lake, vast as the void between stars. For centuries, the Aetherion has waited. Bound by celestial law, it could not be drawn until the balance teetered on annihilation. I have watched you forge, endure, question, and still choose kindness when cruelty would have been easier. Tonight, the law is lifted. God said you are permitted to use this weapon tonight. A blinding column of silver fire erupted from the earth before him. The ground split, revealing a stone altar older than the mountains. Upon it lay a sword, no longer than a man's forearm, its blade translucent as frozen moonlight, etched with runes that pulsed like heartbeats. It had no hilt of gold or gem. The grip was simple blackened iron wrapped in worn leather. Yet it sang, a low, resonant hum that drowned out the screams below. Kael reached out, trembling. His scarred palm touched the grip. Memories not his own flooded him. The first flame igniting, gods weeping as they sealed the blade away, prophecies written in blood and starlight. He understood then. The weapon was not merely a sword. It was permission made manifest. Permission to end what should never have begun. He rose. The scar on his hand blazed white, then faded to ordinary skin. The sword felt weightless, as though it were an extension of his will rather than a thing of metal. He descended the hill. The first shadow beast lunged, a thing of smoke and teeth. Kael did not swing wildly. He simply stepped forward and extended the blade. The creature met Aetherion and unraveled like thread pulled from a loom. No blood, no scream, only silence where malice had been.
1 became 10, 10 became 100. The Umbra Veil pressed down like a suffocating shroud. Maltheron himself appeared atop the highest spire of the ruined temple at the village center, towering, six-winged, eyes like dying suns. His voice boomed across the valley. "Foolish child, even if you hold the toy of your gods, you are still mortal. I was their equal once. What are you?" Kael did not answer with words. He answered with motion. He moved through the horde like wind through leaves. Each stroke of Aetherion carved away darkness without resistance. Shadows parted, dissolved, fled. The blade drank the night and exhaled dawn. Where it cut, color returned, green to grass, blue to sky, warmth to flesh. Maltheron descended, wings beating hurricanes. His own blade, a crescent of pure void, clashed against Aetherion. The impact shook the earth. Sparks of creation and destruction exploded outward, blinding the battlefield. "You think divine permission makes you invincible?" Maltheron snarled. "I will tear your soul from its casing and wear it as a cloak." Kael felt the weight of centuries in that moment, the pain of every life lost, every hope crushed beneath the veil. But the voice returned, quieter now, intimate. "The weapon is not victory, it is choice. Choose." Kael understood. He did not strike to kill, he struck to unmake the choice Maltheron had made long ago, the choice to fall, to twist light into hunger. With a single upward arc, Aetherion met the void blade. Instead of shattering, the darkness began to flow backward, pooled into the sword like water into a drain. Maltheron roared, thrashing, wings disintegrating into ash. His form collapsed inward, shrinking, unraveling, until a flickering ember remained, a fragment of the light he had once been. Kael closed his fist around it. "Return," he whispered. He opened his hand. The ember rose, brightened, and ascended into the sky, merging with the stars. The Umbra Veil tore like cloth. Moonlight poured through. Dawn followed. Silence fell. The horde was gone. The village stood scarred but breathing. Kael looked at Aetherion. The runes had dimmed. The blade looked ordinary now, still beautiful, but no longer singing with celestial fire. He understood. Permission had been given for one night, for one purpose. The law was restored. He laid the sword back on the altar. The stone sealed over it once more, as though it had never been disturbed. Villagers emerged, weeping, embracing, staring at him in awe. They called him Chosen One, Hero, Savior. Kael only shook his head. "I was given one night. Tomorrow, the world still needs hammers and plows and kindness." He walked back to his forge as the first true sunrise in 17 years painted the valley gold. The scar on his palm was gone, but inside something new had taken root, not power, but peace. And somewhere far above, a voice smiled. "Well done, my son. The weapon was never the sword. It was always you."
In the ancient realm of Eldrathar, where jagged mountains pierced the heavens like the spines of slumbering dragons, and rivers carved through valleys with the patience of eternity, there existed a forgotten corner known as Thornvale. This humble village nestled in the shadow of the Eldar Peaks, a place where the air was thick with the scent of pine and forge smoke, and the nights were alive with the distant howls of wolves. It was here, amid the clanging of hammers and the glow of embers, that Kael had spent his 23 years. Orphaned as a babe during a raid by shadow marauders, he'd been taken in by Ilara, the village seer, an old woman with eyes like polished obsidian and a voice that rasped like wind through dead leaves. She taught him the craft of blacksmithing, not just to shape metal, but to temper the soul against the world's cruelties. Kael was unremarkable in appearance, broad-shouldered from years at the anvil, with hair the color of rusted iron tied back in a simple knot, and eyes that held the quiet depth of a forest pool. He spoke little, preferring the company of fire and steel to the idle chatter of villagers. They came to him for horseshoes, plowshares, and the occasional dagger, paying in grain or coin when they could. But Kael harbored a secret, one that Ilara had whispered to him on her deathbed 5 winters past. A scar on his left palm, shaped like a falling star, a mark she claimed was the sign of the Chosen One. "Hide it," she had urged, wrapping it in leather strips. "The gods do not choose lightly, and the world is not ready for what you carry." He dismissed it as the ramblings of age. The old tales were just that, tales. Stories of Aetherion, the edge of eternity, a weapon forged in the primordial fires of creation by the gods themselves. It was said to be a blade that could cut through not just flesh and bone, but the very fabric of destiny, unraveling curses and binding fates. Hidden away in a sacred vault beneath the earth, it could only be wielded by one bearing the star scar, and only when divine permission was granted. To draw it without such blessing was to invite madness, for the sword fed on the wielder's resolve, amplifying it until it consumed them. For 17 long years, Eldrathar had suffered under the Umbra Veil, a creeping shroud of darkness that began as a distant haze on the horizon and grew into a suffocating blanket that choked the skies. It started subtly, winters lengthened, summers grew dim, crops twisted into blackened husks under an unnatural frost. Children born beneath the veil had eyes that gleamed like spilled ink, their laughter echoing with an eerie hollowness. Whispers spread of villages vanishing overnight, swallowed by the shadows. The elders knew the truth. This was no mere weather. It was the work of Maltheron, the Fallen Seraph. Once a celestial guardian, Maltheron had been the brightest of the divine host, his wings woven from pure starlight, his purpose to safeguard the balance between light and void. But ambition poisoned him. He rebelled against the gods, tearing free from their ethereal chains in a cataclysm that shattered the heavens. Cast down, he twisted his essence into something vile, a being of endless hunger, seeking to unmake all creation and remake it in his image of eternal night. His legions were horrors born from nightmares, shadow wraiths with claws like obsidian shards, void hounds that devoured light, and spectral harbingers that whispered despair into the minds of the living. Kings had rallied armies, mages had woven spells of defiance, priests had beseeched the gods in temples of marble and gold. All had crumbled. Maltheron's power grew with every victory, feeding on the fear he sowed. Thornvale, remote and insignificant, had been spared the worst until now. But as the sun dipped below the peaks on this fateful eve, the veil descended in full fury. Kael was at his forge, hammering a scythe blade for old Farmer Thorn, when the first tremor shook the ground. He stepped outside, wiping sweat from his brow, and gazed upward. The sky was a roiling mass of ink, stars winking out like candles snuffed by an unseen hand. Screams erupted from the village below, piercing cries of terror as shadow wings unfurled from the clouds. The shadow beasts poured forth, twisted amalgamations of smoke and sinew, their eyes glowing with malevolent crimson. They crashed into thatched roofs, splintering wood and dragging villagers into the air. Flames erupted where they touched, but these were cold fires that consumed without heat, leaving only ash and emptiness. Panic gripped Kael's heart. He grabbed his heaviest hammer, not a weapon of legend, but the tool that had shaped his life, and ran towards the hill overlooking Thornvale. His mind raced with fragments of Ilara's tales. When the night devours the day, the chosen will rise. But he was no hero. He was just Kael, the blacksmith.
As he crested the hill, a shadow wraith spotted him, diving with a screech that chilled his blood. He swung the hammer wildly, connecting with a glancing blow that dispersed the creature into wisps of smoke, but more were coming. The village was a maelstrom of chaos, homes ablaze, families fleeing, the air thick with the acrid stench of fear. Then, amid the cacophony, the voice arrived. It was not audible in the way of mortal speech. It resonated within him, a symphony of light and thunder, echoing through his veins, his bones, his very soul. It felt like the universe itself had paused to whisper, "Kael of Thornvale, chosen one, the hour has come."
He collapsed to his knees, the hammer slipping from his grasp into the dirt. The voice continued, serene yet commanding, as if the stars themselves were aligning to deliver judgment. For eons, Aetherion has slumbered, bound by the immutable laws of creation. It was forged not for conquest, but for equilibrium, to sever the chains of imbalance when all else fails. I have observed your path, the orphan who forged tools for peace rather than blades for war, who mended fences and hearts with equal care, who questioned the divine yet chose mercy over vengeance. The balance teeters on the precipice of oblivion. The celestial decree is lifted. God said you are permitted to use this weapon tonight. A radiant pillar of silver flame erupted from the earth before him, illuminating the hill like a second dawn. The ground quaked and split, revealing an ancient altar of weathered stone, etched with runes that glowed with inner fire. Moss and vines sloved away as if time itself reversed. Atop the altar lay Aetherion, a sword of deceptive simplicity. Its blade, no longer than a man's forearm, was forged from a material that shimmered like captured moonlight, translucent yet unbreakable. Runes danced along its edge, pulsing with a rhythm that matched Kael's heartbeat. The hilt was plain, blackened iron wrapped in aged leather, worn smooth by hands long turned to dust. But as Kael stared, the sword hummed, a low, resonant vibration that cut through the distant screams, filling him with an inexplicable calm. Hesitantly, he extended his scarred hand. The leather wrap fell away, revealing the star-shaped mark that now burned with ethereal light. His fingers closed around the hilt, and in that instant, a torrent of visions assaulted him. He saw the birth of the universe, the first flame igniting in the void, gods shaping worlds from chaos, Maltheron's fall like a comet streaking across the cosmos. He felt the weight of prophecies etched on blood on ancient scrolls, heard the laments of civilizations lost to the dark. Aetherion was no mere weapon. It was a conduit of divine will, a key to rewrite fate. But it demanded purity of purpose. Wield it with doubt, and it would unravel the wielder first. The visions faded. Kael stood, the sword feeling as natural in his grip as his own breath. The scar on his palm faded to normal flesh, its power transferred. He turned toward the village, his fear transmuted into resolve. The descent was a blur of motion and shadow. The first beast, a hulking void hound with jaws dripping ichor, lunged from the underbrush. Kael did not hesitate. He stepped forward, Aetherion extending in a fluid arc. The blade met the creature not with clash of steel, but with silent dissolution. The hound unraveled, threads of darkness pulling apart like frayed rope, vanishing into nothingness. No blood stained the ground, only a faint glow lingered where it had been. Emboldened, Kael pressed on. The horde thickened, wraiths swirling like storm clouds, harbingers shrieking curses that clawed at his mind. He moved through them like a reaper through wheat. Each swing of Aetherion was precise, guided by an instinct deeper than training. Where the blade touched, shadows recoiled, color bleeding back into the world. Green sprouting from scorched hearth, warmth returning to chilled air. He saved a family trapped in their burning home, slicing through encircling wraiths with strokes that sang of redemption.
A child, wide-eyed and trembling, clutched his leg as he fought off a swarm, the sword's hum drowning out her sobs. But the true heart of the storm awaited at the village center. The ancient temple, once a sanctuary of stone and stained glass dedicated to the gods, now served as Maltheron's perch. The fallen seraph loomed atop its spire, a colossal figure with 6 tattered wings that spanned the width of the square. His form was a nightmare of shifting voids, skin like cracked obsidian, veined with pulsing red, eyes burning like twin suns on the verge of collapse. In his grasp was Void Rend, a crescent blade forged from the essence of oblivion, dripping with the screams of devoured souls. Maltheron's laughter boomed, shaking the foundations of the earth. "What folly is this? A mortal whelp dares approach? I, who defied the heavens, who drank the light of stars. You hold their trinket, boy, but you are flesh and frailty. I will feast on your essence and add your scar to my trophies." Kael stood firm, Aetherion steady in his hand. The villagers who remained, huddled in terror, watched as he advanced. The air grew thick, the veil pressing down like a physical weight, sapping strength from all but him. The battle erupted in a fury of light and dark. Maltheron descended, wings beating gales that uprooted trees and hurled debris. His first strike with Void Rend cleaved the air, aiming to bisect Kael, but Aetherion parried, the clash birthing a shockwave that shattered nearby walls. Sparks of creation erupted, flecks of starlight clashing with voids that swallowed them whole. Maltheron pressed the attack, his blade a whirlwind of death, each swing accompanied by taunts. "Feel the weight of eternity's rejection. You are nothing, a spark in the endless night." Kael dodged and weaved, his movements enhanced by the sword's power. He countered, Aetherion grazing Maltheron's wing, drawing a howl of rage as feathers of shadow dissolved. But the seraph was ancient, his power vast. A glancing blow from Void Rend sent Kael tumbling, pain lancing through his side like frozen fire. Doubt flickered. Was this permission enough? Could a blacksmith truly stand against a fallen god? In that moment of vulnerability, the voice returned, soft as a father's counsel amid the storm. "The weapon is not the blade alone. It is permission to choose, to forgive what was broken, to heal what was torn. Choose not destruction, but restoration." Clarity dawned. Maltheron's fall was not inevitable. It was a choice warped by pride. Aetherion could unmake that choice. With renewed purpose, Kael surged forward. He evaded a downward strike that cratered the ground and delivered an upward thrust. Aetherion pierced not flesh, but the core of Maltheron's being, the twisted knot of his rebellion. The blade began to draw inward, pulling the darkness like a vortex. Maltheron thrashed, wings disintegrating into swirling ash, his form shrinking as layers of corruption peeled away. "No, I am eternal. I am—" His roar faded to a whimper as he collapsed into a flickering ember, the remnant of his original light. Kael cupped the ember in his free hand. It was warm, pulsing with faint hope. "Return to what you were," he murmured, releasing it. The ember ascended, brightening as it pierced the veil, merging with the stars above. A rift tore through the shroud, moonlight flooding in like a tidal wave. The remaining shadows fled, dissolving in the glow. Dawn broke, true golden dawn after 17 years of twilight, painting the valley in hues of life. The village fell silent, then erupted in sobs of relief. Survivors emerged from hiding, tending wounds, embracing loved ones. They gathered around Kael, murmuring chosen one, savior. Elders knelt, offering thanks to the gods. But Kael only gazed at Aetherion, its runes now dormant, the blade ordinary once more. He returned to the hill, laying it on the altar. The stone sealed seamlessly, the pillar of flame vanishing as if it had been a dream. As the sun climbed higher, Kael walked back to his forge. The The scar was gone, but a quiet strength remained. Villagers pressed him with questions, offers of glory. He shook his head gently. "I was given one night," he said, his voice steady. "Permission for a purpose. Tomorrow we rebuild. Hammers for homes, not heroes. Kindness for kin, not kings." Years passed. Thornvale flourished, the Vale a fading memory. Kael married a healer from the village, raised children who laughed under clear skies. He never spoke of that night, but in quiet moments he felt the voice's lingering echo. "Well done, my son. The weapon was never the sword, it was always you, the choice to wield light in the darkest hour." And so in the annals of Eldrathar, the legend grew of the Chosen One who saved the world not with eternal power, but with one permitted night.